All right, welcome to this session. It's pretty difficult session because, it's a lot because it's lunchtime and lots of people probably outside, but I hope those who are here, they're going to enjoy the story that I'm going to explain today about a developer named Darren. So, well, he's a geek like many of us, developing applications, and of course, he was about to go to San Francisco for a big event, and well, what he can do during the flight, a business class, nice, then internet access, then he can make a startup. So that's what he can do, build an application. Before I start, I want to talk about that story. Let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Majid. I'm based in Oslo, head of dev at Invertase, and very active in the Flutter community and Firebase community. The reason I'm speaking very fast is just because I have 15 minutes and I have a story to tell sharp in 15 minutes. The first thing usually we do as soon as we start thinking about a new project is just registering a domain. I guess many of us have many domains registered because someday we can run a startup. So then he started registering a domain, very nice. And he thought that, I'm going to actually create a privacy first app for my family to upload galleries and, maybe photos and communication, chatbots, and etc. Why not? And I just publish it white label for everyone so everyone can use it. Started searching, then which technology I can use. That's important for him because he wanted to do it fast, possibly fixing that or building that during one flight or maybe a return flight from London to San Francisco and the other way back. Well, he found, the best thing he can do maybe is a cross-platform application. It started with Flutter. Let's do that. Why? Because, I can actually do it quickly, cross-platform, maybe first web, and then I go for Android, iOS, who knows, maybe desktop at some point. And the integration, I can find, he could find actually Firebase. Firebase is, very nice. I can build very quickly. There is SDKs integrated to Firebase as well as to Flutter, which is named Flutter Fires. And, he could quickly go ahead and start building the application without really thinking about the infrastructure and maybe the backend code that he wanted to write. Well, he need the code for Firebase SDK, of course, the Cloud Firestore, which is a database, a NoSQL database, and that's the easiest. He doesn't need to think about schema, etc., and it scales automatically. Then nice, and he also needs to store all of the images and assets, and that is Firebase storage. Services are added, very nice. Started creating the project very fast. That's nice. Everything is going to be up and running within a couple of seconds, and he can start writing some code. Well, looking at the documentation first, that seems pretty straightforward. I can go ahead and actually add the Firebase options to my project in Flutter. In fact, that is done via CLI. He doesn't need to do anything. He just generates all the options, a project inside a Flutter application, and go ahead. So that's it. He didn't do anything, just run a few commands, and the project is up and running. He's not really familiar with Flutter, that's fine, but the concept is very simple, right? So I just want to build an app. This is a UI. I need a button. I just want to add a photo button. Let's keep the UI simple at this point. He was thinking like that. And then, in this button, what I want to do is, he said, I just need a file picker, opening up, my computer, file explorer, or maybe the Android and iOS, gallery. Pick some images very quickly, and, I can upload it to Firestore very quickly as just a few lines of code. But that's nice. And I can get a reference of these photos to a collection which is in my database. So I can read those photos and I can get all of my picture. But I wish everything was as simple as writing a few lines of code and the application up and running. We get into a problem of performance. What if my family uploads like 20 megabytes of photos? It doesn't load. It just drains the bandwidths and stuff like that. So I need to optimize it, he said. Well, he started researching a bit, figure out that, well, in Firebase, you need to write functions, serverless functions, to trigger when something is added to the Firestore. It's a lot of work. He doesn't have that time and also the knowledge. Well, started searching a bit to figure out what he can do. And quickly he realized, well, there is actually a library or a hub of packages where he doesn't really need to do anything except finding a solution and quickly install it into a Firebase to get a new functionality. So, well, in fact, these extensions are, he figured out, just those functions and a bunch of other things that he needed to figure out into one package. So installing, getting everything out of the box, that's simple. He just did that, a few lines configuration, and the resize image is up and running. So then he could get a reference to a thumbnail photo where he didn't do anything. He just uploaded a photo, but the thumbnail was generated automatically. So get a reference and show it in the application. Nice. But, well, the application can get a little bit more complex over time. He was thinking, what if I want to share something with my granny or my parents or stuff like that? So then what should I do? So they are pretty okay to read the emails. What if I can actually trigger an email? But you can't do that in Firebase, he figured out. However, he found a solution on extensions, the extensions hub, where he could actually use Gmail, his Gmail account, just by adding an SMTP URI to this extension as configuration port. And, well, now he has a functionality, sending email without writing a single line of code and even any other services except his Gmail account. Well, the only thing he needed to do is whenever he wanted to send an email, he just needed to figure out which collection he wanted to add a document where this document is going to be picked by that function or the extension that he installed, and the message will be sent out. Here's an example. He added shared photo, and then he added a collection here, a document here with a few lines of code. Simple. Now he can send an email, even an HTML email, very quickly. He's happy, of course. Well, he's done quite a lot of work just installing a few extension and a few lines of code, which is mostly copy and paste from documentation. Nice. But then email is not always working. Maybe I want to notify my granny with SMS as well. Well, there are lots of solutions, like, for example, Twilio is helping to send SMS as well. Firebase doesn't. Then what can I do? Well, if I go and learn Twilio, it takes a long time. What if I can just quickly connect this to my application? In fact, there is an extension from Twilio which helps you to connect Twilio to Firestore. You don't need to do anything except installing the extension, getting the reference from Twilio, adding that to the extension, the tokens and all the other things, and voila, everything is going to work. The only thing you need to do, you just need, and again, adding a document to a collection. Whenever you hit a button to send an SMS with photo, you can just simply add a document to a collection of, let's say, messages where you defined it in the configuration and send an SMS. So again, you don't need to do anything. Just in your app, add a document to a collection, and then everything else will be picked up by the functions and done with it. So what if you want to send a WhatsApp email? Twilio supports that. Of course, you can do the same thing, and this time just add a WhatsApp in front of 2, and then that's it. So Twilio and the function that you installed will take care of everything. The good thing is that if you go back and take a look at the store, like the documents or the fields, you get even all of those logs for sending the messages, emails, and etc. And you see like how is even working and which status is the current status of that action. But
generative AI, generative AI, generative AI, AI as AI, 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 AI. It uses AI to bring
AI sounds important. He thought that what if I want to actually add AI to my application? Because if I don't do that, then people think like, oh, you know, this is not cool. Well, I can't sell even this application later. I need to do AI. Well, in fact, he was happy because, well, a bunch of AI-based extensions were added to Extensions Hub. So he could go ahead and install them again without really doing lots of things to do, lots of things. He just did an installation very quickly. For example, he said, what if we upload a picture? Let's say I'm in San Francisco, I want to upload and get a list of tags, possible labels for this picture, maybe even potentially later link them to some places or other pictures. Well, that's good. He didn't want to do anything except quickly installing this extension and get it out. Well, this isn't a story. Actually, this is a true story. He is the guy that I am talking about. He's actually my colleague, and he also developed many of these extensions behind. So he knows inside out of them, many of them. But actually, he built an application in that way. So what I wanted to say today is that you don't really need to spend lots of time these days to develop an application and get a prototype out simply with the tools that we have out, such as Firebase and extensions. You can quickly go ahead, install a bunch of steps, install a bunch of functions, go and follow a bunch of steps, and you suddenly have lots of functionality. Even though Firebase does not provide some of those functionalities that you require for your application, extensions are providing them. Even you can develop your own extension and put it to this hub, and maybe other people around the world can use it. So check it out, extensions.dev. And with that said, I just wanted to thank you for joining. It's sharp 15 minutes. And if you have any questions, so then I'll be standing here. You can come to me and I will answer your question. Thank you very much.